Hi dear viewers of my channel, this is a manhwa that I'm sure many people have been waiting for, and I highly recommend you to watch the video till the end, because there will be important information about when the next videos on this manhwa will be released. I want to thank you all for your support and for watching my videos. Really thank you guys. And I don't want to drag out the greetings and wish you all a pleasant viewing experience. The men with smiles on their faces greeted Lloyd, after which the protagonist asked what they were doing, and they assumed that the guy arrived because of the wedding. While the demon girl was looking at the men intently, amazed that they didn't notice her, then one of the men looked directly at the girl without showing any emotion. This scared the little demon, and she started to hide from the man, who looked towards the demon queen, who also didn't know what to expect from the man, which was saddening. The man assumed that the girls are demons because he saw their horns. The demon queen said that the speculations of the man were true, while the little girl closed her eyes in horror, expecting hatred in her direction, while the man without any emotion looked at them and without averting his gaze indifferently said that he understood. After the men silently left the boys and began to talk on their own subjects, the voices of the people were heard around the settlement, who were very glad at the return of their lord. The old man asked the girl where she was from, and she told him where she had come from. The old man was surprised, for it was the first time he had seen a small demon. While the children were also surprised to see a new child in the settlement, the girl was instantly frightened, while the boy wondered if the demon knew what soccer was, and his friend said that Lloyd had taught them this game and it was a lot of fun. The girl asked Lloyd if they could play together with her companion, but he said it wasn't his place to ask. The boys started asking the little girl if she wanted to play with them, while the little demon didn't know what to say and was very nervous. Then she said she had an ugly skin color, suggesting that she had no right to play with people. The little girl looked at the demon with an incomprehensible look, then began to shout that the demon would not show off, because they have many like her and they are everywhere, then asked if the girl would play with them, which in turn surprised her very much. She immediately looked at the queen, trying to see if she could play with other people. While the queen smiled very softly at the little girl, she held the little girl's hand and let her go as a sign that she could really go out with people. The little girl instantly ran with her new friends, and she seemed really happy. The main character said that he wasn't completely sure that everything would be okay, while the girl took on a completely different appearance, and then hit the ball with all her might, causing it to fly through the children at great speed, and instantly breaking a huge tower. The girl was instantly frightened because she thought that she had done a very bad thing, and now she will definitely be hated, while her new friend said that she is now the head of their team and said that it was incredibly cool, which was supported by the boy saying that the girl was incredibly strong. The demon girl was incredibly happy about this attitude. It was the first time people treated her so well. While the demon queen got down on her knee, then began to beg the protagonist to lead their clan, and said that he was the new demon king, which caused only misunderstanding from Lloyd, as suddenly the body of the demon queen began to glow aura, which caused incredibly strong gusts of wind. After that the aura began to flow into the body of the protagonist. It turned out that the girl changed his title of Demon King, which was notified by the system, which caused even more misunderstanding Lloyd. After that his aura began to go out, creating an incredibly strong flow. The protagonist got huge horns and also demonic wings. The system notified that Lloyd got the skill, and now anyone with one glance will realize that he is a Demon King, and that's all the title gave him. Lloyd stood silently in place while Xavier watched intently. Xavier told Lloyd not to worry because he was no different now than he had been to them before, while the humans were not really surprised and thought that Lloyd had been a Demon King from the beginning. Lloyd was very sad that everyone saw him as a true Demon King. The protagonist started to say that he was not worthy of such a title, while the girl said that power comes from dignity and not from strength. The protagonist began to rejoice a little, because demons are obliged to follow the orders of the Demon King, even if they are impossible. At that time the human girl and ogre couple were getting married. All the humans were incredibly happy for this marriage, while Xavier was surprised that the hero could hide his horns, while the couple was just happy for this unforgettable moment. The protagonist thought about what happened in the novel compared to what is happening now, because in the novel they all became slaves, but now they are truly happy. Lloyd decided to deal with the problems as soon as possible, and Xavier supported him in this, and then they flew at great speed on the dragon. After hearing the girl's story, the demons decided to go to a new place. While in the basement of the Demon King there was an artifact that created a barrier. The girl touched the artifact, while outside there was an incredibly strong wind, which in an instant subsided. The girl gave the artifact to the protagonist, saying that he would be able to create cold air wherever he wanted. Lloyd was incredibly happy about such a thing, because he knew exactly where it could be used. At that time it was snowing on top of the mountain and the protagonist along with the demons were walking and Lloyd ordered everyone to listen to his words carefully. Everyone started to wait for the motivational speech looking at their savior while Lloyd made a crazy face saying that now they will all build a railroad right to his territory from this place. All the demons didn't change their facial expressions. They didn't seem to realize the hell they were going through. While Lloyd himself was incredibly happy because demons don't need much rest and food, and have great strength, the protagonist with his demonic face was anticipating how he could use demons for his new projects. At that time one of the demons was surprised, and reminded the girl that she had said that Lloyd was a good man, and she just silently poured her sweat. She simply said that Lloyd was the Demon King after all. It was at this moment that the construction of a huge railroad involving as many as 3,000 demons begins. The main character thought that he wanted to freeze time as soon as possible and start construction, but he also thought that before that he needed to build a huge village, and all the food supplies should also be produced in this village, after which the main character began to go out to his new subjects, and immediately did incredibly. He had a gray face and said only one word, namely to change his appearance, after which he continued to stand without any changes, but literally after a few moments his eyes began to turn reddish. And after the transformation completely took place, he introduced himself as Lloyd, the Demon Lord. The aura began to surround the main character's body. In fact, Lloyd was thinking about how cool his new look was. Xavier's voice was heard, who turned to the hero. He confessed that it was very embarrassing for him to observe the behavior of the main character. Lloyd began to say that his words definitely sounded confident and majestic, and said that the queen would definitely agree while she sheepishly supported Xavier's words. Lloyd silently clenched his teeth, after which he began to shout that the demons would listen attentively to him. Everyone silently looked in Lloyd's direction, but he did not understand why they were silent, because he has horns and krill, as well as the status of the Demon King. All the demons began to pretend that it was cool. The main character was surprised at how much the demons turned out to be disobedient, after which he said that he would not do this anymore. The girl began to talk about how in ancient times only the strongest could become the king of demons, and the girl also said that now they have a rule that power should be fair. She also said that everyone would obey Lloyd, but the atmosphere would still be tense. The main character understood perfectly well that with such an attitude, demons would have poor effectiveness, and thought that he needed to show himself in front of these demons. The main character asked if they would listen to him if he defeated their strongest representative, and the girl said that they were forbidden to fight among themselves. The girl also said that there is a duel that can be organized. She began to tell Lloyd, who was listening attentively, that everything was important in this duel, after which she began to talk about what was important here. Vision, speed, and reaction, after which she stated with an incredibly serious look that the competition was called rock, paper, scissors. The main character didn't seem to realize these words because his face didn't change, after which his gaze went blank because it was just a game from his home world. The main character began to say that if it allows him to convince others, then he agrees. The main character started shouting that the demons should be grateful that they could participate in the construction, after which he made a serious expression on his face and said that if he could win the duel, the demons would immediately get to work. Lloyd said that the strongest demon would come forward, after which one of the demons began to come out of the crowd. He was completely confident in himself and said that he was ready for battle. The main character was also filled with confidence that he would be able to win. All the demons started shouting the name of the game and slamming their instruments on the ground. It was under the huge support of the demons that the two opponents, namely Lloyd and his opponent, found themselves in the middle of the circle. The girl was crying because she thought the main character was a good person, and asked to stop it, and the woman said that this was a sacred duel and they had no right to interfere. While the guys got ready to start, the crowd cheered and loved the show. Xavier asked what kind of unusual duel it was, while the girl said that first you need to understand a simple concept. She began to talk about how a stone is a hammer that shakes the earth, scissors are a guillotine that cuts the heavens, but paper, according to her, is just a rag. She told about what and how the other wins, after which she began to talk about how after the signal, the warriors begin to choose two weapons, after which, after another signal, they remove one out of hand, and as a result, there remains one weapon that is compared with each other. Xavier realized that thanks to this method, it was possible to find out who was stronger. While both warriors were swordsmen in a duel, Xavier believed that they were able to easily predict any action of their opponent. He was worried about Lloyd. while the queen shouted for the guys to get ready. Lloyd got ready to start. His opponent was also seriously preparing to start, after which Xavier, watching the duel, was greatly amazed at something. It turned out that in Xavier's opinion both chose scissors. While the hero was already moving, Xavier did not understand why the guys had a draw. While Lloyd made an incredible face, he made a creepy face and screamed, which made the demon close his eyes and change the position of his hands. All the demons were horrified by what they saw. Even the adults were shocked by the picture that appeared before their eyes. The main character's opponent turned out to be with 2 papers in his hands, while the main character was with 2 scissors in his hands, after which Lloyd eagerly asked what kind of weapon the demon would choose. At that time, silence arose between them. The earlier chanting crowd was simply silent, and the opponent of the main character fell to his knees. Xavier closely watched what happened. He instantly changed his face because what Lloyd did was just a deception. The queen started talking about how Lloyd turned out to be a legend who could win even before the game started, which simply amazed Xavier. While the opponent began to address the demons, after which all the demons bowed their heads to the new demon king, who instantly took on a demonic appearance and spread his wings. Lloyd said that in the name of the true demon lord, they should learn how to cut down mountains in terraces. Xavier grimaced again because he asked the main character not to do that anymore. Some time later, Lloyd's dragon was moving at great speed, and together with the queen, they headed somewhere. Lloyd thought about what the Queen of Men had told him, namely that all the cases he was involved in were starting to return to their original point. The main character thought that the phenomenon began to act much faster, and he could not even imagine what the future might be. He was worried that the queen might fall into darkness, although he knew that so far there were no signs. The main character was worried about all the people of his territory, because while he was building a settlement, he could not freeze time, which was why he silently reflected, after which a smile appeared on his face. After all, in fact, he found a way to save all people from misfortune. The guy smiled and looked in the direction of the queen, because he knew that she was able to predict the future, and he called her ability a weather forecast, which would greatly help in saving people. The dragon arrived at the main character's estate, where Lloyd told his parents about the girl who used to be the demon queen. Lloyd's parents began to praise the girl's appearance, while she was surprised that people were not surprised at all after Lloyd's words. Lloyd announced that he was trying to deal with the phenomenon of restoring fate as soon as possible, because if they didn't make it, then everything would be over. He also announced that now the girl will check the fate of people on a daily basis. The main character began to move from the side of the building, shouting that it was time to start. Lloyd decided to take veteran engineers with him so that they could control the demons correctly, after which he also took 2 people with him to solve technical issues, and finally he took the strongest orcs so that they could help with their strength. One of the orcs also wanted to go, but the main character forbade. After all, he is a newlywed man and should enjoy his marriage. Some time later, one of the demons started screaming with all his might and swung a shovel, after which Lloyd watched the picture of how the work of these demons showed simply insane efficiency. He believed that thanks to the demons, the construction of the settlement would be very fast. The main character started shouting that this was the power of the demons, which continued to confuse both Xavier and the other demons. The main character, along with Xavier, flew on Lloyd's pet. Lloyd completely completed the route plan with the help of his ability, and was going to start construction very soon and freeze time. At that time, on the main character's land in his estate, the girl told the main character's parents to sit while she looked at them carefully and not blink. There was an awkward pause, after which the queen continued to look at Lloyd's parents, when suddenly her body began to shake and tears began to appear in her eyes. The man looked at the girl without realizing what was happening. While she was barely restraining herself from blinking, suddenly the man made a serious face, after which the queen came to her senses and seemed to begin to be embarrassed. This amazed the parents of the main character, because they were worried that something terrible might happen, after which the queen confessed and said that the couple got along very well with each other, barely able to contain her embarrassment. Such words instantly confused Lloyd's parents, after which the following people also began to enter the queen's office. She also began to stare intently to look at them, as suddenly she was embarrassed again and confessed that they were also just in a great relationship. The couple was also embarrassed by such words. At that time, the main character announced that everyone had done a great job and announced that the construction of the settlement had been completed. The main character began to talk about how even though they were all different, they all worked together for a common goal, and a better future for everyone. Lloyd also said that they had to work without elves, because they could not destroy nature, after which Lloyd announced that now everything would start for real, which caused enthusiastic shouts from all the people. The main character said that he would go check the route and that time would freeze soon. Xavier began to worry that Lloyd was leaving alone. Lloyd proudly called himself a master of the sword and said that no monsters could harm him. At that time, the dragon flew up to the main character, after which, having received a letter, the main character ordered the dragon to go and help others in construction. The letter said that the girl was checking the safety of all residents, as well as the fact that they had taught the residents of the Loida settlement agriculture, and that they were able to become friends. The queen also said that the children were incredibly happy to be able to see the vast world, and she also said that it was all thanks to Lloyd, and the hero also read that she wished him good luck in construction. The system notified Lloyd that he had received 100 points. Lloyd was smiling. He was pleased with his result. After that, the guy instantly used the time freezing ability, which cost him as much as 3,000 points. Time froze around this place while the protagonist's heart felt terribly cold again, which made Lloyd feel very sick. It was snowing terribly heavily on the mountain, and the protagonist was lying on the ground, and he seemed to feel terrible. He thought he needed to hurry because he was getting worse. The heart of cold asked for forgiveness from the main character, who said that only by freezing time could he resist the restoration of fate. The guy was smiling and saying that everything was fine and that there was nothing wrong with it. The main character did not understand why the snowstorm became stronger, because time was frozen. The main character could not move normally because of his heart. He wanted to call Xavier for help. Suddenly Lloyd could not seem to say a word. He slowly began to lose consciousness, thinking that it would be hard for him without Xavier. Lloyd's eyes, they closed as it became incredibly difficult for him to cope with the desire to sleep, as the silhouette of the Queen of People suddenly appeared, moving along the snowy mountain. She also felt the terrible cold, but continued her movement with a confident expression on her face. Dear viewers, this video has come to an end. The next part will be released very soon. I hope you enjoyed the video because I really tried. In the coming days, I will release 2 more parts of this manga, as I have accumulated a few chapters, and then I will disappear again for about a month. Thank you all again for your support. See you soon.